Coffee is done.
Iced tea is done.
Iced tea is
Cheers.
done. Cheers.
Wait.
Okay, Koi, so today I want to make pho.
You want to make pho?
I wanna make
Why are we
pho.
making pho?
So
we're
it's-
making pho from. We got this magazine,
Where did we
The
get this
History of Pho,
magazine?
at like a bookstore.
A long time ago,
Yeah.
right? I love this magazine. I think it's beautiful. I want to make pho today because I believe on Thursday is Nani's birthday.
Nani's birthday. Nani is bà ngoại của Kelly. Bà ngoại.
Bao Wai, yes. And it's actually, pho is actually one of her favorite Vietnamese dish, right?
Hồi mà Khôi tới tiểu bang của Kelly, thăm gia đình của Kelly á, thì mình tới cái tiểu bang St. Louis, mình lúc nào mình cũng muốn thử đồ ăn Việt Nam ở đó như thế nào. Cái nhà hàng Miley, is it Miley? Nhà hàng Miley ở St. Louis á, rất là ngon. Cho nên Khôi ăn lần đầu tiên á, Khôi rất là thích. Cho nên lần thứ hai á, Khôi với Kelly muốn dắt bà ngoại của Kelly lại ăn thử.
This is my
Bà ngoại.
Bao Wai,
Bà
Nani.
ngoại. Nani. Why did you guys call her Nani?
So actually, I believe she wanted me to call her Nana, and I kept saying Nani when I was a baby, I guess. And so they were like, "All right, fine, just call her Nani." And
So now
now
everyone
in the family calls her Nani.
Yeah,
It's-
Khôi cũng kêu bà ngoại của Kelly Nani. Hi Nani.
Hello, Nani.
We sent her the recipe, but now we want to do a video.
Yeah, we want to show her how
Like
to
this
do
stuff.
it. Since it's like her birthday, we can eat it together in
Yeah.
spirit.
Well, it's our favorite too. I mean, I like pho a lot. You never fail with pho.
Yeah, pho is like the go-to.
Yeah.
Right? It's awesome. All right, so we have to start with the stock, which takes, it can take like 4 to 5 hours, so we should really get started on that. The first thing we have to do, Nani, the first thing you want to do is you want to blanch your bone. All right, so Koi is going to boil our water for us back there to blanch the bones. We just do the pot, not too full so that it won't overflow, and then I add a little bit of salt in there. I don't know if it makes a big difference, but I tend to do it every time, so I just keep doing it. By the way, I wanted to thank you guys for all of your bunseo and fish sauce tips and recipes.
Yeah,
We're
cảm ơn các
super
bạn đã.
excited,
Yeah,
right,
thank
to
you.
try.
Cảm ơn các bạn đã bình luận ở dưới, giving us suggestions.
Yeah. So speaking of all your guys' recommendations and recipes for bunseo and fish sauce, we're showing you guys and Nani how to make pho with our recipe today, but I know that everyone
Okay.
has, oh, thank you.
Coffee break?
Oh.
Wait, let's try this.
I know every family has their own recipe for pho, right? There's not just one way to make pho. So if you guys have a recipe or different tips or tricks that you guys can share, we would really, really love to see them, and we can give them a try, and we'll also be sure to share them with Nani as well.
This is the pho place that we went to in Hanoi.
Oh
We were there at Pho Gia Duyên.
So good.
It was like, Nani, pho in Vietnam is 50,000 dong,
Yeah.
which is like $2.50.
Yeah.
How much is it here?
So here in the United States, you'll pay about $10 to $12.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're lucky, okay, maybe $9. Okay, $9
Yeah.
to $12 for a bowl of pho here, and it's very, very big.
Yeah.
Boy, how's our water?
It's boiling.
First, I want to start with this. So the first things first, when you start blanching your bones, you want to, or what we do is we toast, yes, our onion, and our ginger. Oh, ginger, up. And one more, small one, up. You don't need to cut it, you don't need to take the skin off, do anything, just take it whole, one whole onion and about 3 inches of ginger, pop it in the oven. They 350, 450 for about an hour. So by the time we get our broth really going, that will be ready to go. So I like to start it when I'm blanching it. Our water is ready. So I'm going to put this in. This is the beef knuckle that we got. We got about 2.5 pounds of this. Basically what we want to do here, when the water comes to a boil, we want to add in our bones. We don't need to add all of them. Nani, if you're watching and you don't have a pot this big or you have too many bones, sometimes what we do is we split it up into multiple batches to blanch it. I put my first round of bones in. I'm gonna let it come to a boil again. And then I'm gonna, once it comes to a boil again, I'm gonna boil it for 3 minutes. And then I'll take them out and then I'll rinse them and put them in my big stock pot to make the broth. So the recipe normally calls for 2 pounds of oxtail, 2 pounds of beef neck, 2 pounds of beef knuckle, and 2 pounds of beef marrow.
And 5 pounds of love.
And 5 pounds of love. Oh, that's right. I didn't get any. Cool, thank you.
Coffee number 1.
Coffee number 1. You do not need to blanch the marrow bones. I know some of you guys know this. Just have patience with us. We want to make sure that Nani is getting all of the instructions, right, Koi? This has almost come to a boil. We'll set the timer for 3 minutes in a second. It's important to blanch and rinse your bones because you really want to get that beautiful, clear, just like light brown, just gorgeous broth, you know?
Các bạn nhớ subscribe và bấm nút chuông.
So I've added in all of my bones, my beef knuckle and my beef neck, blanched and rinsed here. Now I'm going to add in my beef marrow bones. Koi loves to eat the insides of these marrow bones, so he usually eats them afterwards. We keep them.
Đường, dừa, thốt nốt.
Đường dừa thốt nốt.
Palm sugar.
1, 2. Yes. And then I use 2 tablespoons of
2
salt.
tablespoons.
Yeah. Ooh. It's like that salt guy. I don't know. Beautiful.
Beautiful.
This recipe calls for 8 quarts of water. I don't actually measure it because this is the stock pot I use every time, so I know where it needs to go and I know that it's about the right amount. And also I usually kind of do a little bit more because over time your water starts to evaporate, and I just get so sad when all that good broth just like evaporates. Moving on. So we just fill her up. We actually make broth a lot in our house. There's almost always broth in our house. Chicken broth we'll probably make more often because
broth is good for our skin.
Broth is very good.
Yeah, collagen.
Yeah, I hope so.
Right. Các bạn thích ăn phở gà hay là ăn phở bò? So who's team phở gà? Who's team phở bò?
Team phở gà, team phở bò.
Are you team phở gà or team phở bò?
You know, I can't. This is gonna be really annoying, but I seriously could not pick a side. It's just too hard. They're both so good in their own special ways.
Yeah.
It would be, I would just feel like I was cheating on the other to say like, oh, I don't like that one. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna just. Oh, okay. Oh. Okay, so we're on the stove at high heat. Nani, just another trick for you. Like we said, we never want to let it fully come to a boil. That's kind of the secret, like, tip to keeping a clear broth. So I'll just watch it for the next maybe 15-20 minutes. And then once it gets to a pretty good simmer, I'm gonna put it on low for 4 hours. The last step I do have to do to this is to add the onion and the ginger, which is almost done, and when we get to that, I'll show you guys how we do that. It just needs a little bit more time. But now we kind of just wait. So we are looking at the different types of herbs that you can eat with pho.
Okay.
So there is Thai basil, rau quế.
Rau quế.
Rau
So
quế.
mình có rau quế. Mình có trồng rau quế ở ngoài vườn nhưng mà nó còn nhỏ quá cho nên phải mua. We have to buy it.
Yeah, we have to buy it.
Yeah.
Bird's eye chili. Ukhim.
Ớt
Ukhim. Oh, that's tricky.
Dangerous chili. Dangerous chili.
Dangerous chili.
But here we normally eat it with jalapeno.
Jalapeno. We do really like ukhim.
Yeah.
We
But we're
eat
used to
with a
eating
lot.
with this.
But for pho,
Yeah.
we eat.
Ở bên Mỹ tiệm phở thường là ta cho ớt jalapeno. Mình cũng có trồng ớt jalapeno nhưng mà mọc không nổi. You can't grow.
Doesn't grow.
So we have cilantro. We bought cilantro.
No.
Ngon, yeah, Khoa cũng đang trồng cilantro nhưng mà chưa mọc. mới bỏ. I just put the seed down in the soil,
Oh,
but
really?
it hasn't grown yet.
Oh, okay.
But if it's grown, I'll let you guys know. Cilantro.
Ngò
Ngò gai. Oh, I really like ngò gai in phở, but chợ không có bán cho nên mua không có được. We couldn't buy it this time.
Yeah.
But I really like this.
I'm
With,
okay without it.
really?
It tastes just like cilantro.
You seem to like dislike every herb that I like.
No, I don't want to get it. I don't want to start any trouble here, but you know, I'm just not even gonna go there. I should say though that I'm really glad that I'm not completely alone in this whole Ralgitka thing. I just want to make sure to throw that in there because I felt so alone for so many years, you guys. All of Koi's family, all of our Vietnamese friends, they all eat Ralgitka. And I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm so alone. I'm
See,
the
but now
only
Kelly
one.
has know that there's people out there who don't like it, like
I
her.
have friends.
Team không thích rau giá cá.
Team không thích Ralgitka.
This is team thích rau giá cá.
Boo.
And then the other, còn cái rau khác mà Khôi có là ngò ôm,
Ngò
rice paddy
rice
herb.
patty herb.
Yeah, ngò ôm. They eat this with canh chua cá.
Canh chua.
Yeah, we really like canh chua.
Canh chua is very.
Maybe
very
one day
delicious.
we'll make canh chua.
Yes, canh chua is
Yeah.
very very good.
For other herbs here, I don't know if we eat it with pho.
Yeah, there's this rau răm. We eat rau răm, but,
Yeah,
not,
but not
with
with pho,
pho,
yeah.
right? And then
Có các bạn nào ăn rau răm với phở không?
yeah. I'm curious what else you guys normally eat with pho because
Yeah, because in Vietnam there's a lot more herbs.
there's a lot. That's probably part
Yeah.
of the reason why we can't get everything
Yeah.
over here. But even when we have traveled there, I've never seen them serve it
That's
with mint.
true.
There was
What pho do you like? Isn't there a menu?
pho bao thai is what I normally order.
So how would you order in the restaurant?
Pho bao thai with
Anh ơi cho một tô phở bò tái.
Yeah, that's right. Anh ơi, cho em một tô phở bò tái. And I like to get meatballs too.
Oh, bò viên. So
Bò viên.
meatballs bò viên.
Yeah.
I really like the gao fatty brisket.
Gao. Oh, we have
Yeah.
brisket for this one.
So what do you have to do with the brisket?
So the brisket we decided to do today, which was we marinated
with
it
salt
with salt.
a day ahead.
Yes, last night. And then we put it in the refrigerator. And I believe that about an hour before our broth is done, we will cook our brisket directly into the broth. So we'll add more flavor to the broth and it will cook the brisket real nice.
That's right.
And add more flavor even to the brisket.
That's right.
Broth is cooking, you always need to be checking on it, babysitting it, caring for it, loving it, because sometimes you have to skim the top. This is just all the extra stuff that didn't really come out when we blanched it, but that's okay. I noticed that this happens more with the beef broth than the chicken broth. Like the chicken bone doesn't have, once you blanch it, you don't really need to do this much, but the beef broth, it's just a little bit more, needs a little bit more love and care and attention. Okay, so now we have to put the onion and the ginger into the broth. Koi's gonna help me.
Yes, chef. Yes, chef.
You need to take off the skins. I usually cut the onion in half.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's going in.
It's going in.
Onion into the broth.
Nice.
Very nice. And then the ginger, we will take off the skin and cut it into dime size pieces.
So this is good, right?
This is perfect.
So we'll put the ginger in. So we like to cook the broth for 4 hours, but we like to leave it overnight and eat it the next day because the broth is always better the very next day for some reason. Like it has to like infuse and like.
It has to like fall in love with itself.
Yeah. See, this is how it's not boiling, but it's like slowly simmering. You see? Herbs and spices. So what do we have? Do we have black cardamom? Yeah, 1 black cardamom pod.
Choose like 2.
Yeah, just 2. We sent all these to Nani already, right?
We did. We were worried that the spices might be more challenging for her to find in St. Louis, and sometimes that can be the one thing that stops you from making it because everything else you can kind of adjust.
Whey,
cinnamon. I always use a little bit more in that sense.
star anise,
Star anise.
yai hoi.
Yai hoi. Wow. Very,
Strong.
very strong.
So how many do we need? Star anise. One. Okay.
I think one is enough.
Cloves, cây định hương.
Cây đình hương.
So cloves.
Cloves.
One whole clove. So you do two.
Yeah, I have like 2 in there.
I wish you guys can smell it. It's so like
I know, it's
aromatic.
so aromatic, right?
So you toast it for what?
So I'm just gonna toast it on the stove on low heat till the aromas like really start to just seep out of them.
With oil, it's like
Yeah,
seeping out of their
the
pores.
pores will open up and the oils and the smells
Yeah.
will make the whole kitchen just... Wow, guys. Peppery, cinnamony, just beautiful. You know, Nani, I'm not too surprised that you really enjoy this dish because the spices in it are very, I would call them very holistic. They have a lot of natural healing properties. They all carry like anti-inflammatory properties, and some of them reduce risks of cancer. They lower blood pressure, blood sugar. And Nani, I know that you really like to be very, very natural, very holistic. You actually encourage us and inspire us to do the same. Makes it a lot, even more special to us.
After 4 hours of the broth is cooking, we put the spice bag into the pho broth and then cook it for another hour. And after that, it's ready to serve.
Nhai hâm sao.
Alright, so finally, the bowl of pho. We have phở gạo tái và bò viên, right? So the sliced beef is sliced raw, and then we put them on, and then we put the hot broth on, and it cooks the sliced beef. And then the brisket, we cut it beforehand and then lay it on top. And then we top it off with the onion, and then with the hot broth, we pour it on so that it will cook the onion and all the meat. We were cooking the meatballs in the broth as well to give it the extra flavor, and the meatball needs to be cooked. Then we garnish it off with green onion, jalapeno, and then we can just top it off with
A little bit of white,
white pepper. And then there's a thing of herbs. And then we have the sauce here, the hoisin sauce. Tương ớt, tương đen với tương ớt. So the sauce in America we use is sriracha sauce. So this is every restaurant in America has this Huy Fong sriracha sauce.
It's
really
very
good.
famous in
Yeah.
America.
I
But
got
I think
addicted to it.
they use chinsu, right?
In Vietnam, I think they
Vietnam.
use Jinsu or some other brand. I don't know.
Wow,
So-
boy, the broth. The broth, you guys, is so clear. It's perfect, right? Okay, I'm just gonna get a little bit of everything on my spoon. Give it a try.
The bowl is too small. I have no room.
Wow.
How it like flows down your throat. The warmth just like go down from here, and the fattiness,
I know.
the umami taste,
Umami flavor.
umami flavor.
It's just this delicate, beefy, slightly salty mouthfeel, you know, that you get with a little bit of, it's crazy. It's like after you swallow it, you have this very thin coating of beef fat just dancing in your mouth. It's so good. And then it's not too rich because it's balanced with these crunchy, delicate herbs. Just enough, just enough. And a little bit of spicy from the jalapeno.
I'm gonna eat the meat now.
It's like the perfect one bowl meal, you
Yeah,
know?
I like eating at home because you get to control the flavor every time and how you like it.
It's such a comforting food, and yet at the same time, so inspiring. You know, you take a bite and you think like, wow, I could do anything today. I could take on the world today. Okay, brief intermission. I want to share this poem with you guys that I found about pho. It's written by he was a famous poet in Vietnam, Tu Mo. I think
Tu Mo.
Tu Mo, I think I'm saying it right. And it's called Pho Duc Tung.
Phở Đức.
Pho Duc Tung. It translates to an ode to pho. This is the English translation roughly. If you guys know this poem, if it sounds familiar and you know the Vietnamese version, please send it our way. I'd be really interested to see if it's translated correctly. So here we go. Don't downgrade pho by labeling it a humble food. Even the city of Paris has to welcome pho. Compared to other international foods of note, it is delicious, yet inexpensive, and is often crowned the best. Living in this world without eating pho is foolish. Upon death, the altar offerings should include it. Now go. Savor pho, or you shall crave it.
Or you shall crave it.
It's even kind of sweet. Right?
So rich.
So rich. But honestly, with everything else, it just makes it 10 times better. The crunch of the bean sprouts, the citrusy of the lime that we've put on top.
Yeah, we have like that rich, heavy flavor from the broth and the bone and the meat and the fat. And then we balance it with like the freshness of the herbs and the crunchiness of the bean sprout, you know? And then when you bite into the onion, that is like the thin sliced onion that you like slice and you put on top and you cook it a little bit, it gives it that little sweetness.
Right now, I've actually got a little bit of spice like on the back of my tongue,
Right.
just kind of sitting there, but I feel the lime kind of in the front and some sweetness right in the middle. So even after I eat it, I keep experiencing all of the flavors all over again, and
Yeah.
I just want to keep eating it over and over and over again.
Wow.
Wow. If you like put your lips together, babe, after you eat it, you kind of feel that oily, fat deliciousness just like resting on your lips. The flavor doesn't want to leave you. It just wants to stay with you and keep enticing you and seducing you.
feel like it's
a very
dangerous.
seductive
Yeah.
dish. I can't stop smiling. It's just
know.
so good. Boy, do you mind if I share sauce with you? Oh.
Wait, go ahead.
So, just a little side note here, friends. Koi never shares his sauce with me. Only since we got married did he start sharing his dipping sauce with me.
Yeah, now that my wife, I made an exception to my wife.
I think the one thing about pho that's tricky is it would be hard to label a best pho, right? Because there's so many versions and everybody's used to eating it a particular way. I mean, even for us, we're sitting here, bragging about our pho, but maybe someone else wouldn't like this one.
Yeah.
Maybe this isn't their,
Or there's better.
or there's even,
That's even better.
oh man. We would love to know where your guys' favorite pho restaurant in your hometown in Vietnam is, because when we visit Vietnam, if we get a chance to visit your hometown, we will definitely be sure and go give it a try. We're really curious to try pho from all different parts of Vietnam. Now I'm tasting the cinnamon quite. I'm getting like all these flavors. Like they're coming at like different times.
They're slowly attacking
They're
your
just
taste buds.
slowly attacking me,
Slowly
but
attacking
me in the best way, in the very best way. Like I wouldn't, if I'm gonna be attacked by anything, I want it to be pho, right? I want pho to attack me anytime. Wow. I don't think so, sir. There's some more over there.
For those of you who haven't cooked pho at home, hopefully through this video will inspire you to try it, to do it at home, so that you can like really control that flavor.
Yeah, I think
That
it's
you like.
worth it, you guys. It's
Yeah.
worth the time, the effort. Some of you were commenting in our bun sale video how the time that it takes to cook, that's time you can spend with your family, right? Nani, I really hope that you get a chance to make this at home. I really hope this video has helped, and we're there with you in spirit. Happy birthday, Nani.
Happy birthday week.
Yeah, happy birthday week.